Okay, here we are, slaving over a hot vise. We're going to tie probably one of the most common flies in the fly tying universe, the Elk Hair Caddis. But we're going to show you a few tricks to help you tie it faster and maybe a little bit more durable. What we're using today is a monofilament thread. Now, any of you guys who are in Utah know our buddy Boyd Guyman, really good guy. He gave me this spool of thread. It's pretty readily available around, but I'll show you some tricks with this stuff. Anyway, I have a size 12 dry fly hook in the vise. And I'm just going to dress the hook. Once I have the hook dressed, I'm just going to build a dubbing body. Now on a normal Elk Hair Caddis, you're either putting a piece of monofilament in, some wire or something so you can catch your hackle and counter wrap it forward when you do your reverse palmer. But we're not going to do that on this fly, and I'll show you the trick that we're going to do. The body's going to be Nature Spirit fine natural dubbing, and we're going to use the Calabatus color because it's a nice tan. So as you can see, I've got a nice dubbing noodle here, and this dubbing isn't like a normal fine dry fly dubbing. It's kind of buggy still. So what I'm going to do is build up a body and just taper it a little bit from back to front. Just like that. So once I have it there, I've got a piece of hackle that I've prepared, and I've got a dark barred ginger. And just to rub it in to show you how nice this cape is, I'll just kind of show it off. Guess what? It's mine. You can't have it. Curtis can't even have it. Even though he has half of this one. Okay. So I'm going to take this piece of hackle and tie it in. And I tied it in on the far side of the hook with the shiny side facing forward, so it's the shiny side's facing forward once I start wrapping this hackle. So I'm going to take that and wrap it back. And once it's wrapped here, this is usually where you'd grab it with your wire or piece of mono. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thread and now wrap back over and trap that hackle down, and then bring my thread back forward, just wiggling a little bit so I don't trap any fibers down. And now I've trapped this hackle down, not just in the back, but every time my thread crossed the stem on the body of the fly. This essentially makes this fly bulletproof. Now this is a technique you can use on woolly buggers, on Griffith's gnats, anything that you have a hackle body like this. Okay, next trick, the elk hair. Now if you have bad elk hair, it will make your life very difficult when you're tying these hair wing patterns. So what we've done is we've brought in Nature Spirit products. Now this is a patch of select cow elk hair, and what they do is they go around the country looking for the best hides to bring in. And a lot of times with elk hair you have to get 4 or 5 patches before you find one you're satisfied with. It's real easy to find really quality hair with Nature Spirit. Anyway, another thing I do with these is I don't keep them in the packaging, so I just write on the back of them, Select Cow Elk, Nature Spirit. So anyway, I've got a clump of hair that I've trimmed from this piece of hide. And you can see that there's not a lot of black tips on this elk hair. Really good stuff. So anyway, if you kind of roll it in your fingers and flatten it out a little bit, you can see that I've got roughly 2 hook gaps of hair, and that's how you can gauge how much hair you need when you tie these Elk Hair Caddis. So when you tie bigger flies, you pinch your fingers together and make sure you got roughly 2 hook gaps worth of hair when you flatten it out. It's kind of a little trick. Anyway, I'm going to lay that on top of the body and grab it with my left hand and secure it initially with 3 or 4 tight wraps. Okay, and then I'm going to let my thread hang. And so this is the point, well usually on most elk hair caddis, people tell you got to trim it before you tie it in. And I'll show you now why I don't. What I'll do now is I'll grab about 1/3 of this hair and I'll tie it down with 2 or 3 more wraps. A little bit more of the hair until you wrap it all the way to the eye of the hook. And what that does is it ties that hair down in 3 to 4 different places. So now, once the fly is done, I can grab those butts and come in and trim them at a nice angle, just like that. So there you have a nicely tied elk hair caddis. It's going to be super durable, not going to fall apart because we tied it, tied the head in at a couple different spots, and the body is super reinforced with this thread. Anyway, all these materials and a lot more can be found on store.flyfishfood.com.